This guy you're seeing, his name is Joël Le Scouarnec, a children's surgeon from France. Joël is not really a person. He's a demon in a man's body, because there is no humanity in this thing. We want to talk about this predator that preyed on little kids in his operating room. Before we get started, I should say that the story of this man is terrifying and heartbreaking. Some facts may be disturbing for some people. Just like we said, Joël is a surgeon that specializes in children. He mainly worked in hospitals in the Paris area, but he would take calls from a western part of France if he was available. So you could say in his demonic career, he did surgeries in tens of different hospitals. It is now obvious that Joël started his thing in the year 1989. He may have started earlier, but this year is official. But how would he do this demonic act without getting caught for 25 years? He would basically perform surgery on a child, and after it has been done, he would tell the parents everything is fine, but your child should stay the night just so we can make sure everything is okay. And he would continue and tell the parents that you can go home, your child is in good hands, and we can call you tomorrow to pick him up. Obviously, most parents would absolutely say no and stay with their kid until tomorrow. But some parents were busy, or maybe they didn't care, and they would leave their child in the hand of this evil surgeon. They had no idea that their surgeon is the most evil pedophile that I've ever heard of. But they thought he was a stand-up surgeon and they could trust him. You guys already know what happens after the parents leave. He would do anything to a child that's on anesthesia. I don't want to talk smack about France, but things like this in France are more common than others. An example, Dominic Pellico. Let's continue. Joël does this act for 16 years straight without anyone noticing. And then we get to the year 2005. This year, one of the nurses accidentally mistaked Joël's laptop with her own, and she signed into his computer, and what she was confronted with was a nightmare. Because on his computer, he found an unlimited amount of CP. Images that made her puke her brains out. Obviously, she told the police about this, and when the police examined the laptop, they realized, yup, the CP's right there. But the insane thing is that the French police didn't do anything. They just suspended Joël from operating on kids for a few weeks. They didn't even take his license or fire him or take his credentials so he cannot operate on kids anymore. They literally gave him a suspension for a few weeks, and after a month he could come back and work on little kids again. Laws like this are not very common in the Western world. This dude would at least get fired, let alone get a few years in prison for being a pedophile. But in France, he didn't get anything. Anyways, Joël gets suspended for 4 weeks and he comes back like nothing happened. It's insane. They didn't even tell the parents that are bringing their kids for surgery that your surgeon has been caught with CP a couple weeks ago. Are you sure you want him near your kids? No, they didn't tell him anything like that. This predator continues preying on little kids for another 9 years until we get to the year 2014. One of these days, Joël's neighbor's 6-year-old daughter is playing in her backyard, and this dude enters the backyard without telling her dad and starts playing with her and talking to her. Dudes like this cannot control themselves whatsoever, so he very inappropriately touches the 6-year-old girl, making her cry and scream and run inside the house, calling her dad. When the dad figures out what happened, he immediately comes to the backyard, stops Joël and calls the police, and holds him until the cops come. When the cops come, they have to ask the kid what happened, and the 6-year-old basically explained the whole story, and since it was sexual harassment to a child, the police had to arrest him this time. When they take Joël and they have evidence that he has done something like this, they also have to search his house to see what he has. Long story short, they get approval from the court to enter his home, and what they're confronted with is only seen in nightmares. In Joël's home, they found over 300,000 CP picture printed. Yes, you heard that right, 300,000. Thousands of disgusting videos, extremely disturbing dolls that look like children. And another insane thing is that he had videotapes of all 299 children that he molested and raped in his operating room. Now that the police has all types of evidence like this, Joël is looking at some serious time now. No more suspensions or something easy. Just like we said, He had 299 victims, and their average age was 11. About half of the children were boys, and the other half were girls. When the police has this many victims and there's videos of them, they are forced to tell the family or that person what has happened many years ago. You have to know that he had been doing this for 25 years, and many of these children are adult, so they would have to make phone call after phone call, letting the family know this extremely insanely terrible news. News that will ruin your life, but they had to do it. After getting familiar with 299 families, another disturbing fact came up. More than 10 of these children had committed suicide. All these kids were under anesthetics, painkillers, and they didn't see any of the acts that Joël did. But it damaged their souls so much that it made them take their own life many years later. Two grandparents brought their grandson to Joël's office to have a surgery performed on him. Everything went well, and unfortunately, they left their grandson with the doctor, and everybody knows what happened that night. The grandparents say that their grandson was never the same again, and he would barely smile. He got into drugs and alcohol at the age of 13, only 1 year after his surgery, and he took his own life 9 years later at the age of 21. But let's see what happened in court. How much you think the French court gave to this criminal? It's France, right? Give him the guillotine and let the city watch like old times, am I right? Unfortunately not. The death penalty is no longer legal in this country. The maximum sentence in this country is only 20 years, and that's what they gave Joël. Only 20 years. An amount that made a lot of people in France angry. Because when you give a sentence to a criminal like this, it kind of promotes doing this act, because you're only going to get 20 years. And another thing that very much upsetted people in France was that the news networks weren't even covering what had happened. This was supposed to be national news, a surgeon that molested more than 299 children. But no news agency was covering it. The only reason we really know this is because of social media and news networks from outside of France. Right now, Joël is 74 years old, and he has served 2 years of his 20-year sentence. And unfortunately, he's eligible for parole.